Hello and welcome to Witchy Wednesday with Seaside Shadows. We'll let you first get a little glimpse at everything on the table before we get you started with what we're doing today. All right. So, what you've seen so far on the table are some bunnies, some jars with some liquid substance, some eggs, and some herbs. So, you know a Witchy Wednesday is in store because we're also by the fire just after sunset. And we're here at a very exciting time of the year. We're here just before the spring or vernal equinox, which is an ancient celebration. Even a month and a half before the Beltane celebrations, you'll be celebrating Ostera, the beginning of spring, the beginning of new life, resurrection, rebirth, fertility, and abundance. And Ostera is a beautiful time of year that we're already starting to experience. We've seen some warm days here in New England. The sun is starting to come out. It's pretty exciting for all of us. And today we want to talk to you about Ostera, the holiday, its origins, the goddesses, the roots behind it. And we're going to tell you the story of the hare and the egg, one of the first stories of Ostera. And then we're going to demonstrate to you some ways to make Ostera eggs and make them for your altar. Now, Ostera has pagan roots traditionally, and if you listen to me sort of say the name Ostera, if you look at the word Ostera, Ostara, you're going to hear and see a likeness to the word Easter, which if you're in the Christian tradition, you are likely quite familiar with, and you're familiar with many of the traditions of the resurrection and the Easter egg hunts and the Easter bunny. But where does it come from? Well, with any good modern tradition, it does come from some ancient roots, and Ostera is named after a goddess who the holiday is really in celebration of and for, and that is the goddess Ostara. Now, she is likened to my favorite goddess in Norse tradition, to many, Freya, because the symbol for both of them, the totem for both of these goddesses, including Hecate or Hecate, depending on how you pronounce it, has a similar totem. They have the totem of the hare, of the rabbit. Now, what's unique about the rabbit for Ostra and these goddesses in particular is that the hare is said that it can die and come back to life in one day. It can also remain fertile even when pregnant. So it is a constant sign of new life and rebirth. And many of you may know that the hare is a sign of fertility and abundance coming your way. We start to see the bunnies hopping around our yards in the spring because that's the time that they reproduce, and that's the time that new life is coming. You may think of your Easter eggs as a fun way to get something when you were a kid, right? What was inside? Was it chocolate? Maybe a few coins? Something like this? It's important that you keep the Easter eggs with that very special feeling, because the Ostera eggs, or the Ostra eggs, they are hollowed out eggs that we fill with our energy, our wishes, that we make sure that we are planting the abundance for what we need in our life that is to come for the year. And that's why we're going to be focusing on that this year. Now, right before Andrew tells you a bit about how the hare and the egg come together, I just want to, I'm dropping eggs. Don't worry, those aren't the real ones. Those are the lovely display ones. I just want to make it clear to you guys how lovely, thank you, Andrew. Sorry, ignore us picking up our eggs. If you see a few rogue ones, that is our little offering to Ostra herself. But before I turn it over for the story, I want you guys to really look into your pagan roots and look to your ancestors who would be outside celebrating by the fire, baking bread, and they would be making sure that they are talking to Ostra and Freya and Hecate, and they're saying, I want life this year. I want abundance. I want happiness. goddess, and they are going to make these offerings and plant them around the yard in the most natural way possible to assure that happiness. And with that, Andrew's going to tell you a bit about the rabbit, or the hare, I should say, and the egg.
Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, it spread throughout the animal kingdom a word. The goddess was having a party. And this was a very, very special party. And there would be a very, very special animal in attendance. Now, each animal loved and revered the goddess. And some were rich, and some were poor. But all knew that they wanted to give whatever they had, the best representation of themselves, to the goddess. Well, the hare was concerned. He had loved the goddess, just like all of the other animals. But he had very, very little. And he knew that others would be able to give her gems and gold and silver. What could the hare, the lowly hare, have to offer? So he goes back home to his den, and he looks around and scrounges and thinks to himself, what do I have that can represent what I mean and what the goddess means to me? He looks finally in the cupboard and sees a small egg, the very last of his possessions. He decides this would be it. What else did he have? So he took it and he decorated it in bright colors. He attends the party later, and he sees all of the other animals giving all of their gems and gold, and he thinks surely the goddess will take one look at his egg, and she will be dismissive of him. How could it compare? At last, the hare has his turn to present his present, and he walks up to the goddess and presents this small, dyed egg. She takes it, and she stares at it for a long time before revealing that with this gift, she sees the true spirit of the hare, who he really is, what he represents, and that the hare was chosen to be her very special animal. And from then on, both the hare and the egg were symbols of the goddess and of the spring festival.
So when this Germanic goddess, Ostara, whose name I also forgot to mention likens to estrogen as well in her name, is starting to celebrate this gift of the eggs being a symbol of nurturing nature, giving back to nature, and celebrating the rebirth that comes with the cycle of the hare who gave her this gift. When this starts to happen and these connotations come with this beautiful Germanic goddess, it's time to celebrate her. So festivals took place, namely across Europe, and this spread into the Celtic regions as well, to celebrate everything that Andrew just told you in this story and everything that Ostara and Ostera stood for. So part of those celebrations and those festivals and festivities and the parades and everything that would happen, one of the events that would happen is making Ostera eggs. Now, making Ostera eggs is a really lovely tradition because it takes in everything from the story, and it still allows you to make an offering to the goddess yourself and to also manifest what you want for this coming season on the first day of spring. Now, there are many ways. No specific way that you can make your Ostera egg is necessarily right or wrong, but we're going to tell you one of the ways that is a bit of an older way, a more natural way, and a way that you can give back to nature when you're done and hold on to this as long as you want throughout the season. So one of the ways that you want to have an Ostera egg that you can really fill with your intent and your abundance and your wish is to use a natural egg, a real egg. It doesn't really matter the color. It can be brown or white or any shade in between. And you're going to want to make sure that egg has no yolk inside, no egg white inside. Otherwise, the egg is going to go bad pretty quickly. So the first thing you need to do is blow out your eggs. Now, this is something that we actually did last night because we knew this would be quite a process, and you would not want to watch a Witchy Wednesday that was that long. That is for certain. So we sat down, myself, Andrew, and Marty, who is behind the camera, and we sat down with 18 eggs and endeavored to complete about half of that. And
it took a while.
It did. We're proud, though. And you feel really accomplished at the end, and you think, how am I going to do this without breaking an egg? And we really thought this, no matter how many instructions we read or how many people we talk to, we're going to break these eggs. But you'll be surprised how sturdy it is. We only had one egg casualty. One. Andrew had an egg casualty, but all things considered, that's not so bad, right? So what you do to get these lovely hollowed out eggs that we'll show you right here, some that we have dyed already and some we have not, and you may see a little evidence of what we did. So at the very top of the egg, you're going to make a little hole with a thumbtack, but you're not going to do this into the egg by itself. We placed masking tape a little bit on the top and bottom of the egg. Through the masking tape, you press your thumbtack and you listen to it kind of make that hole in the shell, and you want it to be kind of 1/8 of an inch. Then you're going to flip your egg over, and on the bottom you're going to make a slightly larger hole. And you're going to do this the same way, masking tape and a thumbtack, and you're just going to kind of round it out so it's a little bit bigger. Now, what you're going to do is make sure that you have something underneath your egg and your little station that you're working at so that you can effectively blow the yolk into something without making a huge mess. And you put your mouth over the top of the egg, which is the smaller hole that you made first, and you just make sure you're putting all your outward breath into the egg, and the yolk is going to start to fall through the bottom hole. First, you're going to see egg whites first, and then you'll see the rest of the egg. And the first couple are the hardest, but you'll get there. And some of you may be laughing at us telling you this, saying, I remember doing this growing up. My mother told me that. That's how the egg stayed longer. But that is how you hollow out your egg. Now, once you have these beautiful eggs that are completely hollowed out so that nothing can go wrong with them, you're going to rinse them out and let them dry overnight. You can kind of lightly tap them dry after you've taken the masking tape off, and but make sure that the insides are going to dry out naturally, so to speak. And then what you're going to do is you're going to prepare yourself for the dyeing process and also for the decorating process and the setting of intentions. And we're going to show you a way that we really liked. Excuse me, but there's no right or wrong way again. Now, you saw in here that some of them are already dyed. So last night, we thought, after all of this with the eggs, what is a great way to make sure we stay connected to our ancestors? They would not have been able to get a lovely egg dyeing kit. They would not have been able to go grab some food coloring, which you can do if you're feeling so inclined, and mix with a little vinegar to dye your eggs the perfect shade that you are looking for. And you'll think of a lot of pastels this time of year, but there are natural ways that your ancestors would have used had they participated in an Ostera festival. And that would have been using the fruits of the earth, what they had stored over the winter that still remained, sort of hardy things that they would have had around, and they would have made dye with them. Some of those hardy things include beets and cabbage, and we did have a lovely spice and herb that we used that today we refer to as chili powder. And you're going to shred these beets and cabbages. You can do this by hand. I will tell you, the one unorganic thing we did was use a food processor in this endeavor.
We did have to cheat.
we did cheat with that. You know, it was a long process, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And then you're going to boil each ingredient separately. And then you're going to take the food item out. You're going to strain it, make sure the beets, the cabbage, everything is gone. The chili powder, you don't have to do that. And you're going to come with these lovely shades of colors. Now, we have here that we're holding a purple and a blue. Now, both of these can come from beets, but we actually used beets for this lovely purple color. And for this one, we used red cabbage.
And you would not think that a red cabbage, which did also produce this lovely reddish purple, would be able to produce a blue this vibrant.
Now, the tinges of blue here, the blue/purple and the blue/green that you see coming from the cabbage, are variable based on something. Baking soda. So we put in some baking soda that we had hanging around in the kitchen, and it helped us make these colors more vibrant.
And it literally looks like magic when you add the baking soda to the purple of the red cabbage juice and watch it turn to this vibrant blue.
Now, there is something that is going to make you think you're having a bit of an experiment in your kitchen. Has it gone wrong? You know, you are going to look at it and you're going to think this because you do know that although you have this lovely boiled color here, how is it going to stick to the egg? The egg could just float in it, right? What is going to make it stick? And it is that old time ingredient of vinegar. So you're going to want to add vinegar to each of your contents to make sure that it sticks. And you may be familiar with, you can use your food dye with vinegar in the same exact way, just a lot less, because it will be much more condensed in its potency. So you won't need nearly as much as you would to make your own dye. Now, there are a variety of things that you can do with your eggs, but say you just want to start with, oh my gosh, I made this dye from my beets and my cabbage and my baking soda. I'm creative out. Isn't this an offering enough? Isn't this enough for Ostara? It is. Colors have symbols. So if you are here in the spring and you are looking to bring love into your life, connection back with those who are around you, you may be looking to the colors red and pink that are a symbol of that. And you can simply, while you're going through this process of dyeing your egg and making sure you put it into the dye, you're spooning it around, you're doting on it, you're already going to get these natural designs and shades, and then that color is going to come out, and that is your offering. That is enough. If you are looking for tranquility, peace, calm, health, you're going to want to go with the color blue, and you can do that as well and just dye your egg completely that color. And you can decide what that color means to you and just go with an egg and let the natural dye set. That is okay. But maybe you're feeling a bit more like you want to do one more thing to make sure that the message on your egg is correct. And that's what we're going to do with you guys here today. It's going to be us trying it out. But so it is stated that you can either paint with honey, trace with honey, which we have here, a local honey from our area, onto your egg, and you can design it that way without ever dyeing it, or you can design it and then add some color around it. But you're going to want to design it in something that means a lot to you personally. One favorite, again, I go back to Freya because I love her, and I'm wearing, her rune symbol here. One of the ancient ways of decorating an egg was to paint a rune on it. So we are going to, on our non-dyed eggs, do a little bit of design with you today. Now,
bear in mind, I am no artist.
And this is for you. This is for your altar. This is for your home. I'm no artist either. I thought me writing Ostera on there was, quite lovely. So, that's where mine kind of die, my artistic abilities. But we're going to think of life here while we're painting Ostera eggs, not that. Right? So we're going to paint a little bit with the honey. Now, while I'm thinking of Freya, I'm thinking of the many things she means to me. She's a warrior goddess. She's powerful. She's a lover and a fighter. She fights for her family. She's done everything she can for her family. She's a supporter of women. And I have a lot of goals this year. I have a lot of goals for new chores, books, growth that I want to have. And I want to continue to have this abundance of love in my family. And for me, Freya is all of those things, right? I might also do a little bit of a leaf imprint on the other side. I might do this because the season that means so much to me is the changing of the seasons around the fall. Andrew, what are you thinking of doing?
I am making the Eye of Horace as best I can. Again, I'm no artist.
Now, we talked a little bit about Horace a bit when we did our Isis Healing Brew last year. What does Horace mean to you?
Well, similar to Freya and you, big birds have always sort of been a spirit animal for my family. And so whenever I see the falcon or a hawk, I'm connected with my family. And Horace makes me feel like that as well.
I love that. And you know, in some traditions, they say before Ostara had the party where she met the hare, that she was actually a bird. She was a part bird goddess first.
Yeah.
I know, with her flowing and abundant nature, and the hair is what changed her more than anything else, which is actually pretty cool. All right.
It's hard to do this in honey.
It is. And we'll see if it works. Now, we are going to put ours that we're kind of working on a little bit over there when we're done. But I am trying to think of what color I would like. I'm thinking I'm going to go with blue. Freya seems to be, quite attached to blue. And I know you're going to go for that purple hue. If I know Andrew, he's going to go for a purple hue. But I think I'm going to go for the blue and see what we have going on. All right. So I'm just going to put this in there. This is one of the smaller mason jars because this blue was especially hard to make. And it was also a test. We weren't sure how good we would be at this blue.
We also did start to panic a little because we had a little bit of a scientific reaction because the vinegar
Yes.
and the baking soda will surprise you.
Oh, yes. You're going to go back to middle school or high school science and go, oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I remember doing
What have I
this.
done? What have I done? Now, we're going to let this settle a little in here, and we'll be sure to show you some fruits of our designs as soon. That's the one thing is it's going to take you a little bit longer to get this to dye. We set ours
The
for
natural
what?
ones,
Probably
yeah.
about 20 minutes each one while we were making them. I have a little extra vinegar here to help us speed up the process. Ooh, look at that. That's the beets right there. Powerful, powerful beets.
We'll see if the honey even shows up after this.
Oh, there's a little bit of that bubbling. I just put some vinegar in. There it is.
But yes, keep in mind that though these are not artificial dyes, some of them will work much quicker than others. Others you really want to let sit for a while.
Now you can just not dye at all. That's fine too. So I might, just for the sake of doing it today, show you guys, and you can do this too with a marker or whatever you want. But I might just make one, and honey is also a sign of, the earth giving back to us through the bees, who are also very sacred and very special. And this way, too, whenever you get rid of your eggs and your eggshells, which are held in a lot of magic regards as quite powerful, you're still giving back to the earth because you've used all these natural dyes. You haven't done anything that would harm Mother Nature, who's given us Ostera in the process. Now, here's my little Freya symbol in the honey on just a plain egg. You can see how our eggs are dying in our natural juices too. Now, I used a little paintbrush to do this. You can use whatever, feels best for you. And so now you have this lovely egg. Andrew, could you hand me one of those plates?
Absolutely.
And we'll use this as an example right now, and we'll put it with one that we made yesterday. And I'm just going to take a moment, and Andrew is too, and we're going to take a moment and just set our intentions with our eggs. Make sure that they have, you know, what we've sort of been hoping for in mind. We have that sacred moment where we thank those who have come before. Oh, look, the blue actually came out quite lovely. I know I'm here in the dark and lovely, and you can kind of see the Freya symbol poking through underneath. Pretty neat, actually. See the little yellow lines that are underneath? I'm pretty happy about that. So we're going to take a moment and set our intents. Andrew, did you want another one that we made last night? Maybe this powerful chili powder one. Fiery good. And just set our intents for the new season. And we want to thank our ancestors and Ostara. Wonderful. So now we have these lovely eggs that have our intentions. And here you could opt, I am opting for safety with my eggs at this moment. So you could opt to actually put a string or ribbon through and hang them, which, hanging them from your doors would also be a great ancestral offering. But another thing you may do is if you have a place in your home that's kind of your sacred, maybe getting ready place, or your altar if you have one. This is a great addition to it for Ostera. And the first thing you want to do is actually pick an herb that you like. We have here in this jar a few things. We have lavender, which if you've watched a Witchy Wednesday, you know lavender is my favorite for its calming effects, which as a person with anxiety, that's extremely great for me to have. We also have some rosemary in there. If you really are seeking fertility and help with marriage and things like that, rosemary is a really great one to put in there. We also have thyme, which is one of these kind of herbs that I think expands to every offering. If you're looking for peace, if you're looking for abundance, you're going to want to put thyme in there. And we also have mint, which is a great idea for a fresh start. So I personally am probably going to pick a few different of my herbs and put them in there. I'm going to pick my lavender, of course, making sure that I, always have calm around me and peace and that spirituality that they provide with lavender. And I'll probably... We also have sage in here. Sage is for cleansing anything negative. If it's been a rough year for you, like it has for so many, do not hesitate to put a little bit of sage in there just to cleanse out the bad and bring in the good and the pure. Oh, I like to smell the sage when it goes in too. So a little bit of sage. A sprig of rosemary never hurt, right? And I'll put a little thyme in there as well. So we're going to put these little herbs in there, these powerful herbs that will help infuse your wishes with the abundance you desire. And then you're going to sort of use these herbs almost as like a little bed for your eggs that you have made. So you want to make sure you have plenty of it.
I feel like a bird making a nest.
You are. Hence the bird connection, remember? Yes. It all comes back to that too. Which is why the eggs were such a great gift for Rabbit. Now, in some traditions, Ostara is painted as this really beautiful feminine figure, kind of like we might see Freya or Hecate. However, there are some traditions that believe she actually comes as a half rabbit, half human goddess, and that may be how you see her in her true form.
That does make sense.
Yes.
I like that.
So I'm going to put in here the eggs that I just made on their little nest. You can decorate this if you wish later with anything else you want to add. Any symbols. If say you don't want to paint a rune, but you want to paint something on your egg that will draw in what you're wanting. Are you looking for a home? Paint a little picture of a house. Are you looking for love? Paint a heart. You don't have to be totally abstract if you don't want to be. You can also put little symbols in here. Are you looking for abundance? You might want to put a couple little coins in your jar with your herbs and your eggs. Are you looking for a home? Put a little thimble in there. That's going to bring you the home that you seek. Are you looking for love? There's a variety of things that you can put in there, but oddly, a ginger snap would be a great way for you to attract love into your life. So you can put little symbols of what you want. You can put ribbons with your favorite colors and make this however you wish for your altar. But just for the effect of Ostera, all you really need are your eggs with your intentions and your herbs to help infuse it with the power of what you desire. Do you want to do it in an Easter basket? You can. You can just make a whole nest of hay out of your herbs if you want to. I think that would be another great idea. Now, I know on Witchy Wednesdays we always tell you that you can go to our store, but no store can sell you an Ostera egg. That comes from your heart, that comes from you and your intent. And we hope that this spring, as we go into 2021, a year of hope and new life for so many, that you get what you wish this spring and that you are able to honor your ancestors. So we want to thank you for joining us on this Witchy Wednesday. We wish you a blessed Ostera, and we will leave you with a glimpse of our fire as it goes down and the goddess takes our wishes with her.
Stay happy, healthy, and ever growing.